I got news, friends, right? If we are not detoxing well, our body will not release fat.
No, no. Your body holds on to the fat because the fat cells are what stores the toxins. And until it says, oh, I'm safe, I can release those toxins, you're not going to lose weight. I don't care what you're eating or how much you're exercising, doesn't matter.
Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. Hey friend, welcome back to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm Jenn Trepeck, your host and health coach, here with you every week for wellness without the weirdness. And I'm excited for today's conversation because we're building on the last episodes. Last week, we discussed toxins in our environment. Today, we're going to focus on the body's physical detox and supporting both your liver and your thyroid, especially the liver, because by the way, October is Liver Awareness Month or Liver Health Awareness Month. So who knew we were so on trend? So let me introduce you to our featured guest. She's a renowned certified dietary supplement professional, a member of the National Association of Nutritional Professionals, and is celebrated for her dedication to empowering individuals to achieve optimal health through the transformative power of cutting-edge natural supplements, DNA-based nutrition, and lifestyle changes. As the founder of the award-winning and cutting-edge brand Accelerated Health Products, named the most innovative supplement company 4 years in a row, she has established herself as a trailblazer in the health and wellness industry, pioneering innovative solutions to support holistic well-being. Recognized for her expertise and commitment to excellence, she's also a sought-after speaker at conferences, seminars, and events worldwide. Her dynamic presentations captivate audiences as she imparts practical strategies and actionable advice for achieving vibrant health and vitality. She believes in the profound impact that carefully formulated supplements, nutrition, and lifestyle modifications can have on overall well-being. With a steadfast commitment to empowering individuals to take control of their health destinies, she continues to inspire positive change and transformation in countless lives. Without further ado, I give you Sara Banta.
Well, thank you for having me. So excited for our talk today. And who knew that it was Liver Month? I
know,
even
right?
know that.
I know. And, I'm excited for us to chat again. So shameless plug for everybody. Your podcast is called Accelerated Health with Sara Banta. We did an episode together over there. So it aired back in June. We talked about yo-yo dieting, what it does to the body, how to heal your metabolism. So everybody, when you finish listening today, pop over to Accelerated Health with Sara Banta and check that out.
Yes, absolutely. And, they kind of go together, what we're going to talk about today and the conversation we had back in June.
Exactly, because I got news, friends, right? If we are not detoxing well, our body will not release fat.
No, no. Your body holds on to the fat because the fat cells are what stores the toxins. And until it says, oh, I'm safe, I can release those toxins, you're not going to lose weight. I don't care what you're eating or how much you're exercising, doesn't matter.
Exactly. I love it. We're like jumping right in. You can't stop us from sharing all the good details. Really quick, one more piece of housekeeping, and then I want to start with your story. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Awesome. All right, friends, join us in the Happy Healthy Hub. Being a member of the Hub is the next best thing to working with me as your health coach. You get a recipe every week delivered to your inbox. You get curated articles and additional discounts from me and our partners. You get interview episodes like this one in full video, including behind the scenes content, a community with the ability to post and comment on other people's posts, plus 24/7 AMA or Ask Me Anything to target your specific questions or challenges. You can upvote other people's questions, see past Q&As, and so much more. All of this, by the way, is yours for just $12 a month. Or prepay the whole year, you get 2 months free. So it's a year for $120. I mean, no brainer. Your recipe this week is for roasted cauliflower with tahini sauce. So cauliflower is in season right now. This recipe makes it so delicious, and you'll see how incredible cauliflower can be beyond what your kids probably call white broccoli. I mean, it's true. They do. I have clients who call it white broccoli. All right. For this recipe, this episode in full video, access to our community chat and the 24/7 Ask Me Anything, go to asaladwithasideofries.com/membership. From there, you'll click subscribe now, then follow the prompts to enter your payment info, create your login to access the hub, and all of your benefits. Remember, you're going to go to asaladwithasideofries.com/membership. This supports your health and this show so we can keep doing this together every week. Okay, Sara, we learned a lot in your bio, but not so much about your story. So that's really where I want to start. What had you become so passionate about holistic health and then specifically the supplement space?
So I was one of those kids way back when no one had leaky gut and bloat and constipation and thyroid issues and all these issues. I was the weird girl that was picky with my food because stuff just didn't feel right. Even my whole family, and my family never had weight problems. In fact, my mom always says, your dad looks better now because he was way too skinny when we first met. So weight wasn't the issue. But they were eating tons of junk. They didn't care about their diet. And I was always very picky. But it wasn't until my 20s when I then was pregnant, I started having intestinal spasms and thought I was going into labor. And just the wheels started coming off. My hair was falling out. I was having acne. By the way, had a hard time getting pregnant, had PCOS, had to get a little fertility help on my second pregnancy. But all that being said, with every pregnancy, my health declined because my body was giving everything to the baby and just I had nothing there. So at the end of my 3 pregnancies, and I'm laughing because today's actually my firstborn's 23rd birthday. So that really
happy birthday.
Thank you. That really shows how long this journey has been. And I was depleted. I was just like a shell of a person. The GI doctors that I went to put tubes down me, up me, around me and said, oh, you've got IBS. Go take some Metamucil. And I thought, you don't think I've tried that already? So I then started seeing my mentor and now one of my main formulators that we work together with all of our accelerated health products. And he scanned my body with a machine called the SCIO machine. It's a scalar frequency device that scans your body for over 10,000 things. So he gets the screen and he looks at me and he goes, how did you have the energy to walk into my office? He goes, you are a shell of a person. You're not digesting your food. You have no energy. Your thyroid's in the tank. And he started talking about some symptoms that no one would know that I had other than me. And I started crying. I'm like, oh my God, finally someone understands me. And he said, Sara, we're going to peel you like an onion. We're going to attack the first things. And that's going to, of course, new things will surface, but we're going to talk about the biggest things first. Now, mind you, my Western medicine father would notice that I, wasn't feeling great and thought I was depressed and wanted to put me on Prozac. I'm like, I'm not depressed because I have depression. I'm depressed because I don't feel good. I don't have energy. And so that would have been the worst thing for me at the time. So we started peeling me like an onion, getting back my digestion on point, my thyroid, all of those things, started feeling better. And my firstborn, that Jackson, that was, is 23 today, when he was 9 years old, so this is a few years later, I started noticing that my active son didn't want to go to 20-minute swim lessons. He was having headaches. His grades were failing. I'm like, this is weird. This is not my son. So I took him to my mentor and he got scanned. And what came up on the screen, my mentor didn't tell me right away. He said, I want you to go do the live blood cell. And that's where they look at the blood underneath the microscope and see what they see. And so I go and I take him. And this lady is extremely blunt, no bedside manner. And she looks at the blood and she looks at me and she looks at Jackson. She goes, Sara, your son's got leukemia. If you don't do something about this right now, we're going to have a very serious issue within a month or within a year. And I just was blown away. And you can imagine what it felt like as a mom. And Jackson just looks up at me and he goes, Mom, why are you crying? You're going to fix me. And I go, you're right. And even just retelling that story right now, I get the chills every time I
do
think
too.
about
I
that
know.
moment. Because it was like he was such an old soul back then. And just that week before, one of my best friends had a 2-year-old baby that had a little sniffle, and the doctor put him on not just an antibiotic, but a steroid. And so I'm like, okay, what's going on in this world? So we put him on back then. That my flagship product was the accelerated silver, colloidal silver, but it's scalar enhanced and all. It's much different than just a regular colloidal silver. And I cleaned up his diet a little bit, but I really didn't know anything. This kid grew up on microwavable corn dogs. I know, don't kill me. I should be put into, Child Protective Services. But
No, wait. By the way, I mean, that's the information that we all had at the time.
exactly. I was looking for protein, and a corn dog was protein, right? I
Right.
microwaved my formula and my breast milk. I did everything wrong. And I look at him all the time. I said, thank you for being you and not like hating me for the way all the mistakes I made with you that I didn't make with your 2 sisters that followed you. So over the next year, we cleaned up his diet a little bit. Still didn't understand organic, but back then, organic wasn't as big of a deal as it is today.
Our food
Um,
supply also wasn't as gross as it is today.
that's my point, is that it wasn't as bad to not eat not organic. And within a year, my son was doing better in school, wanted to not just go to his swim lesson, but wanted to do baseball and soccer in one afternoon. And he started becoming himself again. So I didn't really trust the process until we went back to the same lady. Oh, and by the way, when I had done a follow-up with my mentor on the skio machine, I said, you didn't tell me that he had leukemia. And he said, well, I didn't want to scare you, and I wanted to make sure that it was verified by the live blood cell test. So that is what he saw on the scan as well. And so we went back to the lady, and she looks at me after we look at this beautiful blood on the screen. And you don't have to be a biologist or a chemist or a doctor to realize what good blood looks like versus the cancer blood. It was shocking. And she said, Mom, because she calls all of her people mom, your son's blood is the most beautiful blood I've seen in a long time. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And I just started laughing and crying. And Jackson looks at me and he goes, Mom, I don't know why you're surprised. I knew you were going to fix me. And then we started talking about, the importance of food and what you do with your body. That boy today, gosh, he went off to college 4.5 years ago. And, there's the cafeteria food. And he thought he wanted to be the typical boy and eat in the cafeteria. 3 days in, he goes, Mom, the food isn't just bad for you. It doesn't even taste good. He's like, the pizza doesn't even taste good. That boy was smelling up the dorm floor because there was one stove in the whole floor that was right in the middle of all the rooms. He would cook every day there. And everyone's like, what's Jackson making now? Because everyone else is going down to the cafeteria, but he wasn't going to do it. And because he was so into taking care of his health. He understood the value of it. And our whole family of 5, his 2 sisters, my husband and I, we all got our routine blood tests this last year. And the doctor's like, Jackson's the healthiest. His blood test is the best. So he takes care of his body with balance, just like what you promote. He just did a 3-day fast, but he'll have his ice cream. And yes, he buys the organic ice cream. And will he go eat at In-N-Out? Maybe. Will he eat at McDonald's? No. He eats the organic wild meats. He does all the things. He does the supplements. He actually has toyed with getting into the industry now that he's out of college. But the one other part of this story is between the age of 9, as we got him healthy, he then became an extreme athlete. All 3 of my kids love athletics, and that comes from me probably. My husband is very active as well, but they were all rowers. And at 15, Jackson, he was on his road to winning and breaking the national record for rowing as a sophomore and with his team. But during that year, his heart was literally stopping, like to the point where he had to pound on his chest to get it going again. We went to 3 different cardiologists. Doctors are all saying he's got a little murmur, but his heart is great. They couldn't tell me what was going on. So we rescanned him with a scan machine, and lo and behold, he was low in electrolytes. He was training like an Olympic athlete. He was not supplementing like an Olympic athlete. And I said, Jackson, if you're going to live at this level and ask this much of your body, you've got to give it what it needs. So with that was another challenge we went through. And it really taught me, because we went through that with him. Then my daughter had an anemia, asthma, allergies. She hated walking or riding her bike around the block. She rode crew at USC at the college level. My youngest daughter, probably the healthiest because I knew the most when I was raising her. She's now at Boston University rowing for the team, and they all have their bundle of supplements. They all are, got their healthier snack food to eat when options aren't great, but they're living the real life in college, And as we move through this, all these different challenges, whether it was health or friends or anything, I always said to my kids, these challenges are going to strengthen the muscles you need for the next challenge in life. And, my faith is very important to me. And so I'd always say, I don't know what God's doing with this challenge. I know life is hard right now, but this is for a reason. This is for a purpose. And it really has taught them, especially, looking at Jackson and what he's gone through. He does not flinch when something hard comes up. So with that being said, it really taught me the importance of what natural supplements can do for the body. The body's the miracle, but the miracle can't work if there's these roadblocks. And in today's day and age, we have so many roadblocks, these toxins, the microplastics. I just recorded a podcast on bone health. Microplastics are being found in bones now. And our parents and grandparents never thought about microplastics. Wasn't a thing. We've got the endocrine disruptors. We've got our makeup and our hair products and the non-organic foods, GMO, glyphosate. Glyphosate on its own has created an issue where our sulfur detox pathways are corrupted in most people. So that healthy cruciferous vegetables may not be healthy for you because glyphosate has made it so your body can't metabolize it. You are supposed to be on a high-fat, low-carb diet, and it's supposed to be really great for you. But a lot of Americans cannot handle a high-fat diet because their livers are where the fat is metabolized. And if your liver's backed up, then you are not going to metabolize or assimilate the fat or the protein you're taking in. So we have this process where the fat is actually backing you up and you think you're eating a low carb diet, but you're gaining weight and you don't understand why. Your body is storing that fat because it doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, and you're exactly talking about, the reason why a focus on detoxification is so important to our overall health, regardless of what the goals are. If the goal is weight management, if the goal is energy, whatever it is, right? If we aren't detoxifying well,
Right.
the body's not going to function the way we want it to.
Yeah.
And as we talked about in the last episode, right, we talked about the toxins in our environment. You're even talking about, too, the glyphosate and what's happening with our food supply and all those pieces. So you started to talk a little bit about the liver and fat storage and endocrine disruptors, which makes us think of the thyroid. And today we're focusing specifically on liver and thyroid. So before we get into kind of the steps to take to support these vital organs, what might someone be experiencing that would indicate, we want to focus on detoxification, whether it's liver or thyroid or, both really?
Yeah. So thyroid, I believe that 90% of Americans have suboptimal thyroid function. I truly believe that. And if you are having a slow thyroid, unexplained weight gain, your hair is falling out, your eyebrows are thinning, your skin is creepy, you're constipated, you're bloated, you have to think everything's functioning slowly, including your bowel movements. You're retaining water, you have edema. If your liver is backed up, you get bloated after you eat. You are constipated. You are not assimilating the protein that you're taking in. Gosh, I can't build muscle even though I'm eating all the protein I'm supposed to. And the reason is your thyroid and your liver are partners. They can't function without each other. The thyroid makes T4, which stands for tyrosine and 4 molecules of iodine, which is the inactive storage hormone. Now, a lot of you are on a T4 only medication. Doesn't do you any good unless it's converted to the active T3. So if you're not getting that energy boost, or it could actually make you feel worse, and we'll get into that in a minute, then you know something's off. For your body to feel alive, the T4 has to be converted into free T3. If you take nothing more from this episode, when you get your thyroid tests done, blood tests done, you need to make sure the doctor gets your free T3 and your reverse T3 done. And we'll go into that in a minute. So free T3 is the active hormone that flips the switch of the metabolism. It's the fat burning, it's the brain function, digestion, mood, and energy. But here's the key. The liver's responsible for about 60 to 80% of the conversion from T4 to T3. So if your liver's sluggish, inflamed, overloaded with toxins, your body cannot convert those thyroid hormones from T4 to T3. And this is where the disconnect happens. And you go to the doctor tests your TSH, it looks normal. TSH is thyroid stimulating hormone. That is a pituitary hormone. It's not even a thyroid hormone. And they may test your T4 levels, say, oh, they're fine, you're normal, go exercise more, eat less. But you feel exhausted, you can't lose weight, you have constipation and brain fog because your free T3 is low and your body's starving for that active thyroid hormone. But on top of that, when the liver's backed up, it converts that T4 into reverse T3. This is the brake pedal. This says, hey, I don't know what stressors you're going under. Are you being chased by a lion? Are you going to face a famine for 6 months? Or did you fight with your husband? Or you have financial stress? I'm going to slow down your metabolism. I'm actually going to cause you to gain more weight than you would if this weren't the case, even if you're eating the same food. I'm going to put the fat around your belly. I'm going to put it around your belly because I want to protect those expensive organs, the liver, the kidneys, the belly, the gut. And I'm just going to shut everything down for survival mode. This is called reverse T3. Now, this comes from T4. So here you are on a T4 only medication, and that T4 conversion is not happening to the free T3, but you have extra T4. What do you think it's going to do? More is going to convert into reverse T3. So you actually could be feeling worse on your T4 medication. So
Wait, can I pause you for a second? Because I want to make sure we still do need some reverse T3, right? Isn't reverse T3 the byproduct after T3 is used? Isn't it? Or am I wrong?
No.
Okay.
So it fills the receptor sites for T3. So it will block the free T3 able to go into the receptor site. Reverse T3 is great if you're in surgery, if you need to recover from an illness. It helps the survival mechanisms be on high gear. So that's when you want it. But that's really, for all of us, we don't want it to be high. And unfortunately, with the amount of stress that we're all under, reverse T3 ends up being higher than it's supposed to be. So then you get into the liver, right? Okay, so the liver controls the detoxification. It's the number one detox organ next to the skin. So that's why if your liver is overwhelmed and overloaded, you might get a skin rash, eczema, zits, acne, things coming out of your skin. That's where the skin comes in. But your liver controls the hormones, your thyroid, your estrogen, your cortisol, the environmental chemicals, getting them out, the pesticides, plastics, the xenoestrogens, your medications, the painkillers, birth control, antibiotics. We have in the news right this week, Tylenol, and that's a big topic at the moment. But all I can tell you is my mom was getting her liver enzymes tested every 2 weeks this last year, and she had to take Advil one day. I think she only took 2 caps, and her liver enzymes jumped. They jumped just from one dose of Advil. And I'm not saying don't ever take Advil, but your liver has to process all this stuff, and it's processing all this stuff on top of each other. So back 30 years ago, we didn't have all of these environmental toxins. Taking Advil, our liver would probably dealt with it a lot better than it deals with it today. And then you've got the food toxins, the seed oils, preservatives, additives, alcohol, and it takes these toxins through a 3-phase system. Phase 1 breaks down the toxins into intermediate compounds. Phase 2 neutralizes those compounds by attaching molecules like sulfur or amino acids to make them water soluble. And phase 3 eliminates them through bile, urine, and stool. That's why it's super important to be pooping every day. I've got a family member who contacted me and said, "Oh, I haven't pooped in over a week. Can you help me out?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, why didn't we talk at day 3 or day 2?" And she says, "Well, I normally don't go for 2 to 3 days." I'm like, "Okay, we got to talk because you're recycling your toxins if you're not pooping." So we've got the hormones, estrogen and thyroid hormone, and this is really important these are dependent on the liver function. So what happens if the liver is sluggish, you've got estrogen dominance going up. Instead of being cleared, these bad estrogens, not the good ones, they linger and they keep getting circulated. They overstimulate breast and uterine tissue, leading to PMS, fibrocystic breasts, heavy periods, weight gain. Breast cancer is skyrocketing now. I'm 49 years old, and I have 2 very close friends in my circle of friends that were just diagnosed with breast cancer. And I've got family members, young people in my life who have very high breast tenderness. The PMS symptoms are horrific. The game of the estrogen dominance has increased. Whether you're a young girl in the fertility age, perimenopause, or menopause, we are all getting hit in a different way, including our men as well. Man boobs can't build the muscle. Those are signs of estrogen dominance. This worsens the thyroid symptoms. It competes with the thyroid hormones at the receptor levels. And then you've got the fat-soluble toxins. So like we were talking about, the plastics, pesticides, heavy metals, synthetic hormones, they get themselves into the fat tissues. Our bodies use fat as storage for these toxins for survival. So this creates this vicious cycle of toxicity and inflammation, and our body doesn't feel safe to release that fat because it doesn't feel safe to let go of the toxins. Then you get the fatty liver. Now, this is crazy. Fatty liver used to be only for alcoholics.
Yeah, we did
right?
a nutrition nugget on non-alcoholic fatty liver disease for exactly this reason.
Yes. So I believe it's over 50% of adults have fatty liver disease, but the scariest part is over 25% of our children, they don't drink alcohol, have fatty liver. So the liver's too congested to process fat properly, so it begins to store the fat inside its own cells. So in other words, a sluggish liver leads to poor T4 to T3 conversion, more reverse T3, hypothyroid symptoms, weight gain, constipation, sluggishness, fatigue, and then you get the more or higher estrogen dominance because you have poor estrogen clearance, and that worsens your thyroid disruption and causes weight gain. The sluggish liver will cause fat accumulation, toxin storage, and then
Right, it's this
accelerated
vicious
aging.
cycle. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, so recapping for everybody, what we're hearing is the connection between the liver and the thyroid and what happens when each one is not functioning properly and the way that feeds into each other and the way that all of the toxins in our environment and everywhere and the products we use and the foods we're eating and all those things burden those systems, right? So I
Right.
want to shift into steps that we can take lifestyle wise and supplements. And also, I want to touch on choosing quality supplements. So let's do all of that. We'll just pause here to highlight our partner for this episode. and friends. I am commandeering this real estate because if you're listening, we know that we have a lot in common. We are all about tips, tools, real life strategies to make our lives better. And if you want even more support in between episodes, I'm inviting you to receive my email newsletters. I didn't know what you're thinking. Seriously, like, I don't need another email. Here's the thing. I promise I won't spam you. I send 2 a month. At the beginning of each month, you get deeper dives, practical strategies, and a little inspo to help you take those small, consistent steps that put your health knowledge into action. We typically have a theme, share products I'm loving, favorite reads, recipes, and more. Think of it like an extra boost of accountability and support delivered straight to your inbox. And then in the middle of the month, you get updates on the podcast, reminders of the episodes. Often we have you vote for your favorite nutrition nugget of the month. You can even be featured if you leave a review. And then you also get extras from past expert guests. So honestly, you're missing out if you're not receiving these emails. So head over to asaladwithasideoffries.com. Right at the bottom of the page, you can pop your info in the form. Again, it's asaladwithasideoffries.com. Okay, Sarah, back to you. So we want to focus now on what we can do to support liver and thyroid health, and really detoxification naturally supports the health of these organs. I always say we can't supplement our way out of poor lifestyle choices. And like you, I do a lot with supplementation in my practice, but let's start with the lifestyle side, and then we can add on with the supplements.
Well, I'm laughing because that biofeedback, a lot of people will say, God, why is my blood sugar so high? I haven't had any sugar. I haven't eaten anything. That's your liver. That is your liver screaming at you because blood glucose is managed by the liver. So I just wanted to key in on that one. But you want to think of your detoxes and clogging the drain. If your sink is full of dirty water and the drain is blocked, but adding more soap won't clean it, just like you're saying. You can't just throw supplements to a bad lifestyle and diet and think it's going to work. You've got to open up the pathways first. Number one, I love rebounding vibration machines, walking, exercise, that lymphatic movement, right? Infrared sauna is great. Lowering your stress. I always love walking my dogs after dinner. That will lower my stress, my cortisol, get my body ready for sleep. Sleep is number one. I don't care what you're eating, what you're taking, what you're doing for exercise. Sleep is number one. So that is my way of calming my body down to get into sleep. You want to then remove the halogens and the heavy metals. What are the halogens? They're the bromide, fluoride, chlorine. We hear about fluoride in the water around the country. Get it out. The problem is fluoride is very difficult. It's such a small molecule that a lot of water filters can't grab it. So you do have to be very good at finding the right water filter. And the heavy metals, try to get them out of your food supply. Even organic chocolate whey protein powders are high in lead. So it is navigating a very scary, difficult world. I get it. I know it's overwhelming. You do what you can. Try to get the plastics out of your kitchen, right? The pesticides, don't spray your house. And you want to support your liver with the nutrients and herbs that restore bile flow. A lot of liver supplements are junk. They're either sprinkled with that ingredient that everyone knows about, like tudka or milk thistle, and there's hardly any in there. And then there's got fillers or bad ingredients that are old or stale that are full of mold and bacteria. How do you think that mold and bacteria is treating your liver? So here you are spending money on a liver supplement and it's only backfiring. You also want to look for ingredients that don't contain oxalates or sulfur. You know, we talked about sulfur and the cruciferous vegetables. A lot of you could handle the broccoli on your plate. But when it's concentrated in a supplement, it might be too much. It's like having celery versus celery juice. Celery juice is loaded with oxalates. I have celery every day in my salads or in my whatever. But it's what is the tipping point for you? And it might be different for you versus me. And it might be different for me today if I'm super healthy and my immune system's strong versus when I get hit with the virus during cold and flu season. So you also have to think about your body and what its current state of health is when you're eating and how your detox systems are working.
I just want to
So
pause there to make sure everybody caught that, because I think it's really important for us to recognize what works in this moment may not work in a month, may not work in a year. And it doesn't mean we're broken. It just means we want to reassess and check in with where we are at the moment to
yeah.
support our systems.
Yeah, and listen to your own body. Don't
Yes.
depend on a doctor, because if you're bloated after a meal, your
You know,
body's telling you something. If you're constipated, if you're swollen, if the scale goes up 2 pounds overnight, that's not fat. That's water retention and inflammation saying, hey, I didn't like what you gave me last night. And so you want to listen to your own body. So with that being said, be very careful with fillers and toxins and other supplements. And like Jenn was saying, supplements are supplement. I focus on wild animal protein. That is my priority. It's no more expensive than regular protein. I love websites like forceofnature.com. There's buyranch.com. There's a whole bunch of companies around the country that deliver to your door. How amazing is that? Especially as a mom, I stock my freezer, and my son, who eats me out of the house, can just go to the freezer and cook for himself instead of me having to deal with it. But it makes it really easy, and it's good quality meat that is going to supply your body with the building blocks of the amino acids without the toxins. So we want to lower that burden, that toxic burden. Try to eat organic as much as possible. We're not all perfect. So what do you do to supplement that framework that we've talked about? I always say iodine is number one. Iodine is essential for your thyroid, for that 4 and 3 molecules of iodine in T4 and T3. It also displaces the toxic halogens, the fluoride, bromide, and chlorine. So if you are deficient in iodine, which 95% of Americans are deficient in iodine, those receptor sites are open, ready to be filled by other halogens that are looking like it. The fluoride, the bromide, and the chlorine take that parking spot. And Dr. David Brownstein, the OG of iodine supplementation, said that all of his breast cancer patients were high in bromide in the breast tissue and iodine deficient. So it detoxifies the cells, pushes those toxins out. It helps support apoptosis of the damaged cells, and it also helps form the iodolipid value of the cell membrane that allows the fats and the toxins out of the cells and the nutrients in. That cell membrane is made up of iodine and fat. So you have to have iodine to support that cell membrane. Then we came out with an accelerated liver care supplement. We use 13 very strategic herbs that are concentrated, no fillers. But this supplement was a game changer for me, because about a year ago, I went through the spike protein exposure, parasite infection, Epstein-Barr, shingles. My whole body was under attack. And my thyroid was down, my testosterone was down. Why? Because my liver was like, woo, I can't do anymore. And within 2.5 weeks of being on accelerated liver care, my liver enzymes went from over 700, which is not good. You want them under 20, down to normal. So it is a very powerful supplement. But what we wanted to make sure we did was use the herbs like tutka, milk thistle, but ones that other people have not heard of, like Palperera, that has been shown to help with cirrhosis and liver cancer. But we used no ingredients that have oxalates or sulfur. So regardless of your current state of health, it's not going to cause any issues with you. And it helps with increasing that bile flow. That bile is the detergent to scrub your body and get the toxins out. Help with the estrogen dominance, regenerate liver cells, and enhance that detox. But then when you're detoxing, you want to grab a binder to grab those toxins, to get them out of your body. You hear people talk about those detox flu symptoms, we don't want those. We want the toxins out very quickly. And we have a detox powder that includes activated charcoal, which is really helpful, and zeolite, triphala, slippery elm, something called chitosan. Chitosan used to be known for weight management because it grabs dietary fat and excess cholesterol, takes them out of the body. A lot of people are suffering from cholesterol going up and blood sugar going up because that's managed in the liver, right? And they're thinking, I haven't changed anything I'm eating. Why is my cholesterol going up? So this helps bring that cholesterol down by binding the excess cholesterol. Now, another thing that most people are walking around, they're dehydrated, not because they're not drinking water, but because of electrolytes. Just go back to my son. He was drinking lots of water during practice, but he was not supplementing with a full mineral unrefined salt, and not the table salt, but that will provide all of your minerals for that intracellular hydration inside the cells. So we have an accelerated ancient salt that does that, but that is really important for plumping up the blood to push the toxins out. So you want to detox the cells, but bind it up and get it out of your body as quickly as possibly. And use the lifestyle hacks, the sauna, the walking, exercise, sleep, stress, managing your stress, eating the clean foods. Get rid of the processed foods if it comes in a bag, and that's not doing you any good, and that's backing up your liver. So trying to clear the pathways and then cleanse the pathways. And you will see a difference in all of the symptoms. We talk about weight loss, but weight gain is just a symptom of a bigger issue going on. And, usually when you have someone that says, I want to lose weight, then you ask the follow-up question, what other symptoms do you have? There's a laundry list. I have brain fog. I'm bloated. I can't think straight, whatever it is, because weight loss is typically just one of the many.
Right. It's a side effect versus, what everybody wants to call it as the cause and things like that. I want to ask you a follow-up question with all the herbs and everything. You mentioned the high quality herbs, making sure that, they don't have mold. That we're not taking the ones that have oxalates and the ingredients and those kinds of things. But even coming back to the iodine, how can we, of course, everybody can go to Accelerated Health Products, but how can we also help people, all of my clients come to me, they already have a pantry full of bottles and bottles of things. How can we look at what we have and tell or find out from the companies quality products from the bad actors?
Yeah, so the iodine is very controversial, but all I can say is hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's have gone up. Our soils are depleted of iodine. Iodine supply has gone down. So there you go. That's the connection. Most iodine supplements come from Asia. Asia has been contaminated with microplastics, radioactivity from Fukushima. So a lot of the iodine sources are radioactive or full of toxins. Then the second thing is that they are paired with toxic fillers or a glycerin or an alcohol or water that is not organic or clean or actually lowers the bioavailability of the iodine actually getting into the cells. So accelerated iodine comes from South America, deep in the mines where it's untouched by modern man. And then we pair it with non-GMO organic 200 proof alcohol, which is the most bioavailable carrier to get it into all the cells. All I can tell you is if you're on an iodine supplement and you switch, you will feel it that first day because there is a drastic difference. But the fillers in all supplements, it really is unfortunate because it makes the supplement market have a bad name.
For sure. To your point, I think working with somebody who understands the ingredients in various supplements, who can help what are the things that we're experiencing from following after taking a supplement that are evidence of it truly doing its job, and how long that should take and those kinds of things. So really being able to work with our bodies and with experts in the field to optimize and support our bodies.
Yes.
Final thought, something to wrap this up?
All I can say is Doesn't matter what your health condition is right now. And it feels like doomsday. It feels like you're never going to get out of the trap and you're at rock bottom. I've had so many rock bottoms in my health journey for me, for my 3 kids, for my husband, and there's always a way out. The body is a miracle. You just need to give it its tools and treat it like the miracle and trust your gut because your body's telling you something and we all have intuition. And I'm available free group coaching as well and answer your questions. I can put together personalized protocols for you as well to keep you going. My goal is not to throw a bundle of supplements at you and say goodbye. The problem with our industry or even Western medicine is that you're given supplements or medication and then you never have a follow-up. You need to learn. You need to take care or take control and take your power back over your body. And you do that through education and connecting the dots. And that's what I'm here to help you do.
Absolutely. Agree 1,000%. All right, it is time for our rapid fire off-topic questions that I ask every expert who joins us. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, what's the best thing you've done for your health this week? What's the naughtiest thing you've done related to your health this week? Not that anything's really naughty, but the salad and fries of your week, we'll say.
Okay, so I'll start with the fries. I went out to dinner last night and I didn't think twice about the seed oils and the non-organic food I ate, and I truly enjoyed it. Best thing I did for myself this week, I walked a lot. I got my steps in. It is one of the things that lowers my cortisol. I'm really good at lifting weights and pushing my body, but the walking is something that is more for my mental health, and that would probably be the best thing I've done for myself.
Awesome. If you weren't CEO of Accelerated Health Products, what would you do?
Oh, that's a tough one. I love what I do. I was actually talking to my husband yesterday if what would happen if my business went away. I would probably just go move in with my children because they're my passion and they wouldn't like that very much. So I don't have a backup plan.
Your favorite book on any topic other than your area of expertise, or you could give us a fiction book.
I'd have to say the Bible.
If you could cure one ailment, disease, or sickness, what would it be?
Probably fatty liver because the liver is so important to every other disease.
If you were a superhero, what would be your superpower?
To make people love, be kind.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
People that don't have humility. When they don't own the mistakes. I'm all about mistakes. I have no problem with mistakes, but the ownership and the humility.
Yeah. All right, last one, in your opinion, what's the next frontier in wellness?
Frequency medicine. So frequency devices, frequency healing, really connecting the brain and the body. And I use frequency devices for my own healing as well on top of the supplements, and they work.
Awesome. Well, Sara Banta, thank you for being here. Tell everybody how to connect with you, where to learn more, everything.
You can find everything at sarabantahealth.com. That'll link to Accelerated Health Products, the store, but also my podcast, Accelerated Health with Sara Banta. If you just search my name, it'll all come up, Sara Banta, Sara without an H. And I'd love to meet you. I'd love to help you. I'd love to put together a personalized protocol for you.
Amazing. We'll put links to everything in the episode notes for you. Thank you for being here, sharing your passion and your energy with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, friends, on Friday in this week's bite-size bonus episode, fitting for today's episode, actually, we're talking about Element. So I'm sure you've seen these. They're stick packs of electrolyte mixes, and they just had the letters LMNT on the package. And they're incredibly popular. Jenn S. submitted a request for us to look at this electrolyte product together. So we'll do it on Friday and this week's bite-size bonus episode. Be sure wherever you're listening, click the plus sign or the follow button, and then your app will alert you when this Nutrition Nugget bite-size bonus episode goes live on Friday. And as always, I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I'm at Jenn Trepeck, JennTrepeck. Website is asaladwithasideofries.com. Pick your platform, send a message. Hearing from you is absolutely the highlight of my day every time. Sara Banta, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. This was so much fun.
Oh, awesome. It was fun. And friends, if you are not already, join the Happy Healthy Hub. You'll go to asaladwithasideofries.com/membership. This shows your support for this podcast, this community, and above all, it supports your health. On top of this week's episode in full video with behind-the-scenes content, your 24/7 Ask Me Anything, you'll get this week's recipe for the roasted cauliflower with tahini sauce. So until next week, remember, your liver and your thyroid are connected. Above all, supporting your detoxification will help support every aspect of your health and whatever health goal you're pursuing. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it and you are worth it. Happy healthy.